channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Shatterglass Voyager class Autobot Blaster and Autobot Rewind. Of course, let's take a look at the packaging and then we'll get into the comic book and then the review. So of course we have Shatterglass at the bottom, a shattered Autobot symbol, we have Transformers on the side, the text of Autobot Blaster and Autobot Rewind, a nice artwork there, a Blaster with his really cool looking rifle, an open window displaying the figure when it would be in box. On the side here, another artwork with the Shattered Autobot symbol and the Transformers Generations Autobot logo. On the bottom here, we have quite a few product shots of Rewind. Of course, he transforms in 8 steps from his Robot to Cassette, and Blaster here transforms in 20 steps from his Robot to Boombox. And there is a nice description here which you can read for you. It says, Blaster specializes as the communications expert for the Autobots, as he uses his ability to harness Earth's classical music as a sonic weapon he uses on his enemies. And that's a pretty cool description right there, which is in several different languages. And on the other side, the same art we've seen before. And that is pretty much it for the box. Now let's quickly take a look at the comic book that's included with this figure. Of course, we have Rewind and Blaster right up the front, and we have the Transformers Shatterglass text there at the top. And overall, I think the artwork for this comic book looks really, really cool. I'm not a huge comic book reader myself, but I actually really do like collecting these, and I'm really looking forward to getting the remaining ones from Wave 2 and 3. So if you want actually a full video, me showing all of the comic books from Shatterglass from all 3 lines, I will be glad to do that in the future. I think that'll look really cool in my collection. Let's now move on to the review of Shatterglass Blaster, and here we have Shatterglass Blaster in his really cool looking Boombox Mode. Let's take the details. Starting at the very front, we have some nice transparent red plastic for that windscreen section there, a nice purple and white Autobot symbol. We also have some nice turquoise in the background. That actually looks really good, with some black for the big button there to open the big cassette tape area. And of course, we have this nice kind of iron silverish color around it. I actually really do like that. I know a lot of people complain how it's kind of boring, but I actually really like it. They also did some nice gunmetal grayish silver for all the dials, which really makes it highlighted and more noticeable, and I think that actually looks really, really good. We have some nice black for the outer edges of the speakers. The speakers themselves are done in this nice dark blue. Also, the handle as well is done in this nice dark blue, which looks really, really good. There's 2 speakers on the front and sides of the boombox, which looks really good, and of course, you can pick out all the dials of the volume, the pause and play, forward and back. And I think that looks really cool. I do have the same complaint that I had with King and Blaster. I kind of wish maybe these were a little bit movable or something, just to have a kind of cute little playable feature, but that's a minor complaint. And of course on the back, overall very clean. There's virtually no kibble on either mode. This is actually the back of the robot mode, so I think they did a really good job with making this a very slender and playable, cute little boombox. Now let's get into, of course, features and accessories and how they store on this mode. So of course it does come with the exact same rifle that came with King and Blaster. And if you didn't know, I actually did do a ranking video of my top 5 favorite Kingdom figures, and Kingdom Blaster was in the top 5, so if you wanted to know how much I like this mold, I actually like it quite a bit. So if you move to the back here, there is actually a tab and a slot, and you can store this on the back right here like this. And there you go. Which honestly isn't bad storage, of course. This is a boombox, so there's really not that many places you can just stick a rifle and actually look good. It's much better than the Titan Shuriken. If you have that figure, you know what I'm talking about. Now, of course, he does come with Rewind, which is a straight-up redeco of Eject from the Kingdom Blaster figure. And I actually really like that cute little Minicon. I actually probably prefer this deco. I really like the silver and kind of transparent red plastic with the white. That actually looks super cool. And of course, you can store it in there, so you just press that button. And before I do that, I actually wanted to quickly show you, there's some really nice interior detail and sculpt work in there. That looks super cool. Hopefully you can see it. It's kind of hard to get a lot of light in there, but overall, really well sculpted. Actually kind of looks like a separate cassette tape is in there that you could take out. I kind of wish there was a little bit more pan there. It's a little bit bland, but that's a small complaint. So you can just slide this in there, close that up, and you can actually see through that little windscreen. A little bit of Rewind is in there, which is actually super cool. So overall, I think a really good job with this boombox. Let's now get into, of course, one quick boombox mold comparison. Here is Shatterglass Blaster with Kingdom Blaster. So for the boombox, which one do I prefer? Obviously, I would say Shatterglass. For the robot mode, not really sure yet. In the comment section down below, which one is your favorite between these 2 versions of this character and this molds? Let me know in the comments. But 2 really cool looking boomboxes, very fun to mess with and display and stuff like that. Of course, make sure you watch the intro, because I'll put several pictures and comparisons with this guy in the beginning intro. But they look very cool next to each other. As you can see, of course, they both have their little Minicons stored in that area there, which looks pretty cool. And if you wanted a quick Minicon Rewind and Eject comparison, as you can see mold-wise, They're the exact same thing, just of course deco-wise. And surprisingly, I like this more. Blue is my favorite color, but I actually really like the red and silver deco they got going on. That actually looks super cool. And you can just put these in there, and I will do, of course, a robot mode comparison between the Blaster and Eject and Rewind whenever, of course, they're in their robot modes. And, of course, just a back view. As you can see, the rifle stores the exact same way and is the exact same sculpt. But overall, a very cool looking boombox, I have to say, by myself. And again, of course, let me know in the comments which one do you like more. That's pretty much it for this mode. Let's now get into transformation into the robot mode. Now get into transformation into the robot mode, so I will be transferring both Blaster and Rewind at the same time. So let's start with Rewind right now. So just open this up and we can take Rewind out. So you're just going to flip out the leg just like that, and you're going to rotate the leg forward. Do the same thing on the other side, of course. Just move those forward. You can then move out the arms just like that, straighten them up, move those out. And then you just take out the head, which can be a pain. You can just rotate out the ball joint. And there we have Rewind's fully transformed. Of course, I'll take a look at the details after I transform Blaster. I'm just going to put him off to the side right now. We can close up the whole cassette tape box there. You can separate the handle. You can move to the back here. And there is a peg. And there is a port. And that will just plug right into place like that. Very securely. Just like that. And there we go. Then what you're going to want to do is pretty much push the entire leg forward like that. And then you can unravel this entire section, and then you're going to rotate at the thigh. Do the same thing on the other side. Move that down, rotate this in. You can then go to the back. You can push the speaker in so it rotates around like that. Same thing on the other side. You can then go to the back here. You can fold in this panel down like that. Same on the other leg. Fold this in, fold that in. You can then get the entire waist, rotate this around. You can then get out the foot, which if you can't, I usually just use the ankle pivot there, and then you can easily take that out just like that. Same on the other side. Take out the foot, and there we have pretty much the entire bottom half of the figure fully completed. You can then unravel the arm, rotate at that swivel, bring out the hand. Same on the other side, so just unravel the arm, rotate at that swivel, bring out the hands. And there we have the hands all done, and of course he is missing his head. So you just go back here, open up this little compartment, and then you can just pick out the head. Just like that. Close this up, and there we have Blaster in his really cool looking robot mode. Let's take a look at the details. Let's now take a look at the details of both Blaster and Rewind. Starting with Rewind here, of course, we have some nice transparent red plastic on the shoulders and the chest and legs, with lots of really nice silver details on top of it. It actually looks really, really good. As for the head sculpt, some nice turquoise for the mouth guard, some red for the face, and some black for the main helmet section, with some white for the hands. And overall, I think it actually looks really simple. Really, really cool. It is a very simple design, but actually looks really cool. So down to articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so you can, of course, move all the way around. There is also a hinge back, but that's really due to transformation. The shoulder is on a swivel. The arm is on a ball joint, and of course you can move out. And there is no waist swivel. The leg can kick that far forward, that far back, out to the side. And of course a swivel at the leg, and a knee bend, and no ankle pivots. Unfortunately, this figure does not come with an accessory. That is, and the same complaint I had with Eject. I really wish it came with some sort of small blaster or a sword or something, but unfortunately it does not. Now for details for Blaster, I actually think he looks really, really cool. Some nice black for the face, very, very glossy, with some nice iron or silver kind of color for the main helmet section, and some really nice dark red eyes, which actually looks really, really cool. Getting down to, of course, the shoulder, some more of that kind of silverish iron color or gray color, looking very cool, with some nice dark blue for the elbow and the hand, looking very cool. Some turquoise for this big chest cassette section there, with some transparent red plastic for that windscreen, with a nice purple out of it symbol there, with some white highlights, which looks really, really good, with some black for that big button section at the chest, some gray for the crotch, some nice silver and black for the hips, some more of that dark blue at the knee area, and of course some more black here, with nice speaker design, really well sculpted, and of course the feet also done, and that blue. And these are actually the handle sections for the Boombox Mode. I think they are very cleverly placed there. And as I said before, on the back, virtually no kibble in this mode and the Boombox Mode. I think they did a really good job with managing no kibble in this figure whatsoever. Of course, you do see a little bit of design and, of course, traits from the Boombox, but actually I'm really glad you can still see them. It's actually kind of cool. But overall, design-wise, I think they did a really good job. Let's now get into, of course, articulation for Blaster. So the head can move all all the way around. It can look a little bit up, a little bit down, side to side. The arm can move out and in, all the way around, swivel at the arm, elbow bends, and as for the hand, it can move in, but that's really due to transformation. There is, of course, a waist swivel. The leg can kick that far forward, and as for back, if you move this panel up, it can kick that far back, out to the side, swivel, knee bends, ankle pivots, and that is pretty much it for articulation. If you want to count this as articulation, you can open this door up, but I really don't count that as articulation. And that's pretty much it for that. Let's now get into, of course, his one accessory. Let me just straighten him up a little bit. He comes with his rifle, which you can actually still store on that tab, just like before in the Boombox Mode, but typically I'll have him hold it in his hand, which can be a bit of trouble. It's very tight, so there we go. And there he has his rifle, which looks very, very cool in his hands. Just straighten him up a little bit. And I think they look very cool in these trailer. Let's now get into some comparisons, of course, with the previous Blaster figure in Kingdom, also several Shatterglass. I'll get into some comparisons. Here we have, of course, a mold comparison. Here we have Kingdom Blaster with Shatterglass Blaster, and, of course, Eject with Rewind. Let's start with the Minicon. So, as you can see here, of course, sculpt-wise, they're the exact same thing. I kind of wish, I really have a complaint for each of them. I kind of wish they came with, like, a sword or accessory or something like that. It's unfortunate that they did not include those. Also, I kind of wish maybe there was a mold change to this set here. Unfortunately, it's just a straight up redeco, which I do like redecos. Sometimes they really do work. Sometimes I like it more than the original. It just seems for an exclusive, a Shatterglass exclusive, it could come with some new accessories or a new head sculpt or something like that for the Minicon or Blaster itself. But they do look very cool next to each other. Really just down to, of course, the deco you prefer. I actually probably prefer Rewind over Eject. That's just my personal opinion. I really do like the red and silver mixture they got going on. Let me know, of course, between these two, which deco do you like more, Eject or Rewind? That's pretty much it for the Minicons. Let's now get into, of course, the main attraction, Blaster. As you can see, they are the exact same mold, just a deco change, which actually can make all the difference to some people, and actually really do work. So I actually really like the dark black and silver they got going on with that turquoise on the chest, but everything really just ends up in the same place, as you can see. And it's actually really cool how you can see a little bit of the boombox from the other mode on the back. It actually looks super cool in my opinion. I really do like that. But that's pretty much it for that. Getting down to, of course, which one I prefer more, I'm not really sure, but there is a few things that did improve over the Kingdom Blaster, and there's some things that are better on this one. So one tolerance issue with the Shatterglass one is, unfortunately, with my cassette tape box, it actually takes a lot of force to open it. I don't know if you noticed earlier, but there was a time where I actually had to press the button twice to get it open so I could take out Rewind. And actually with this one, it opens immediately. It's actually super fluent, and unfortunately, that's just a small con. Also, unfortunately, there is a slight little mark on my Kingdom Blaster, but that's not, I would say, a big deal. It's actually perfectly good on the Shatterglass one, but that's just a minor complaint. Overall, tolerance-wise, that's pretty much it. Really just down to preference of which one you like more, and that's pretty much it for this comparison. Let's now get into some Shatterglass comparisons. So first up, here he is with Goldbug. Looking pretty cool. This was from Wave 1. Here he is with Blur. And for a final comparison, a Wave 2 Shatterglass Clump comparison. I actually did recently review this over on the channel, so if you want to check that out, make sure you go check that out after this video. Here he is with Ultra Magnus. And of course, of the two, this one's definitely a more interesting figure. It comes with a ton of brand new accessories and a brand new head sculpt, but I think they do actually look very, very cool next to each other. And that's pretty much it for the comparisons. Let's now get into the final thoughts for Shatterglass Blaster and Rewind. Let's now get into the final thoughts for the Transformers Shatterglass Voyager class Autobot Blaster and Rewind. I think overall this package is actually really, really cool. If you're a completionist, I would say, do you need to get this? Yes, of course, if you're a completionist, but if you're not, then you could easily pass this up, because unfortunately there is no mold changes at all, unfortunately. I kind of wish maybe there was a mold change to the Minicon, maybe a brand new head sculpt or accessory, which actually that was an original complaint from Kingdom Blaster. I really wish the Minicon came with a sword or blaster or something, but they really actually didn't even sculpt in a hand for him to actually hold something. So that is a bit unfortunate. This is an exclusive pack, so I would expect some new accessory or piece to come with it. If you actually watched my Ultra Magnus review from Shatterglass, that came with like 7 accessories, and the original Kingdom Ultra Magnus came with like 3. It came with 4 brand new accessories and a brand new head sculpt. So I do feel like this one was a bit cheaped out. Is that a big problem for me? No, because actually if you watched my Kingdom top 5 ranking video, Kingdom Blaster made it in there. He was actually one of my top 5 favorite Kingdom figures, and I still think this is a really good mold and a really good figure, but it being a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, I think it could have come with more. Yes, it did include a comic book, but I don't think that's that all worth it. I don't really count that as an accessory for this figure, and I think most people don't either. But getting into, of course, the pros, I actually really do like the deco. I like the head sculpt, a really nice glossy black and very piercing red eyes. Of course, the rifle always looks very, very cool in his hand. Really cool looking sniper rifle. It actually is blaster piece compatible, so if you want to do that. And the Minicon, it's actually probably my preferred deco between Rewind and Eject. I probably like this one more. I really like the silver and transparent red plastic mix. That actually looks super cool. And the turquoise blue on his cassette tape deck area, that actually looks really nice too. And it's really cool how you can actually see Rewind in his chest in the Boombox and Robot Mode. You can actually see through there, and that's actually a super cool little feature they included. Also, it's super cool how you can see the speakers on the front of the legs. That's actually a really nice touch that they kept. Also, there was like virtually no kibble on this thing at all. As you can see on the back, there is no back of a kibble. There's no loose pieces or anything. And it's also really nice how you can see there's a bit of Boombox speaker and knobs detailing you can see from the other mode. Getting down to articulation, of course, very standard for a Voyager class size figure. No complaints or anything. Of course, typical waist swivel. Arms are very posable, as well as legs. Of course, if you want full rotation of the legs, you do have to move a panel on the back for you to be able to, of course, move the leg fully back. But that's, of course, just a minor thing you need to move. Overall, a very good looking robot mode. He looks really good next to Kingdom Blaster. Of the two, I'm not really sure which one I prefer, but of course, as for the Minicon, as I said before, Rewind definitely takes the money with that. Getting down to transformation, of course, you really just kind of fold everything up, and that's actually a major plus. I actually really do like transforming Shatterglass and Kingdom Blaster. It's actually really fun to do both ways. It can be a bit annoying actually getting the hands inside the legs. Of course, that's part of transformation. You really fold the legs over the hands, and it can be a bit annoying, especially for the pointer finger. As you, of course, can tell, they're not the exact same sculpted hands. There's a pointer finger to look like you can open up the cassette tape deck, which is actually a really cool feature that they kept. I do like it. It just can be a bit annoying because that finger can get caught on things and can be a bit annoying to transform, but that I would just say is a minor complaint at that. And that is actually something that did keep from Kingdom Blaster that had the same problem, but that's just a minor thing. Getting down to the Boombox mode, which one do I prefer between Kingdom and Shatterglass? Definitely this deco I actually really do like. I really like how they highlighted all the knobs and controls for the Boombox in like this nice gunmetal gray, and I actually really do like this nice kind of silver ironish gray they use for the other parts. The nice dark black and blue mixture really looks good, and the speakers on the front and side actually look super, super cool too. And of course, you can transform Rewind into the cassette and actually looks super cool in his chest. And posability with him is not too bad, of course, mostly ball joints. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a waist swivel, which I kind of think they could have done. Yes, he is small. He is about a little bit smaller than a core class figure, but honestly, I think they still probably could have. Yes, in size, that would be hard to do, but I think they have done it before, because there has been core classes that have actually had waist swivel, and actually, if you clicked it in any of the Micromasters from the Siege line, many of those had waist swivel too, so I don't really see why they couldn't with this. But of course, that's not really a complaint to Rewind specifically. Of course, that's also a complaint to Eject, because they are just redecos of each other. But overall, a pretty good figure. Again, if you're not a completionist, I wouldn't say you have to get this. If you are, of course, get it. But honestly, I do recommend to the all non-completionists out there, I actually suggest you get it, because there is some pros over this one, over the Kingdom. The deco, overall, just the look in general, I think works in some ways better than the Kingdom one did. As for, of course, especially in the Boombox and, of course, the Minicon. Robot mode, that's really down to personal preference, which one you like more. I know some people don't like this kind of gray color. Some people see it as unfinished, untouched. It looks like plain plastic. I can see your point of view with that, but I actually really do like it in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. That's pretty much it for the review. Hope you enjoyed. Of course, I will have several other Velocitron reviews coming soon. Unfortunately, my Velocitron Scourge actually got delayed on Hasbro Pulse. It says October 1st now, which is very unfortunate because it originally said around September 10th. So hopefully, maybe it'll come sooner than that. But I do have Road Hauler and Override, and those reviews should be very, very soon on the channel. So make sure you stay tuned for those coming on the channel very soon. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you.